Hello, this is a live stream that I'm going to record for the VA for a writing contest and a picture that I have painted. The picture is behind me. That's the picture, and it's called Me and My 113. And I have a 113 model. This is a 113 armored personnel carrier. And that's in the picture, that's where I'm sitting because I'm operating the 113. And it's an Army vehicle. And as I go through the story, you'll have a relationship to my story, this model, and my 113 and the painting. And also, I have a painting of myself as a young police officer to show you that I've had a long public career as both in law enforcement as well as Army, which will also become evident with my story. So I'll start my story. I am Lee Kerr, and I have a military story of service and persistence. My entire career was focused on public service. Early in my law enforcement career, I often visited veterans officers who were in the military. I respected them, and they were great storytellers. In 1981, I enlisted in the Army National Guard as a medic. While working as an EMT in Billings, I attended basic training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. 6 months later, I attended military specialist training at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio for my medical training. I was overtaxed doing both military training and first year law school. Becoming a lawyer was my priority. I was awarded my sergeant stripes by completing the first year of OCS and then transferred to the Washington National Guard in Spokane, Washington. There I was combat medic sergeant. I operated a 113 personnel carrier in the field training and on assignments. After law school and 5 years in the National Guard, I was honorably discharged because of an active duty injuries in October of 1985. The details of my injuries. I was flown in Huey helicopters deep into the mountains in harsh weather. I had my full gear, including my M16 rifle and aid bag, as medical support for the academy. It took a toll on my body, my leg swelling and not resolving after training. At, at home, I started developing trouble breathing, so I went to the hospital. They found that I had developed deep vein thrombosis in the left leg and pulmonary embolism in the lungs and blood clots. Months later, again, I developed pulmonary embolism. My doctors prescribed Coumadin. I had then attended the Army annual training in Yakima, Washington Training Center the following year. During that training exercise for nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare, instead of riding and driving my 113, I rode in an M60 tank, riding behind the commander and above the loader. Trainers then detonated a large explosive device, simulating a nuclear explosion. We closed the tank to protect ourselves and evacuated the area, receiving bumps and bruises, turning and maneuvers. When I came out of the field, I realized that I was black and blue, with blood in my urine. When I returned home, the unit put me on administrative leave. I received orders to be evaluated at the Madigan Army Hospital in Washington. The Army gave me a 10% disability rating and discharged me from active duty without compensation. I appealed. At the hearing, it was determined that both injuries were service-connected and combat-related. I received a service-connected disability of 30% rating, which qualified me for TRICARE healthcare. I was satisfied with that determination at the time. From 1986 to 2000, I was in private practice and a prosecutor in Montana and a managing attorney general in Texas from 2000 to 2014. After leaving the Army for several years, specialists told me that I had a blood condition that required me to take blood thinners for life, but it did not interfere with my legal career. That changed in 2014 when my doctors gave me a wrong dosage of blood thinner medication in preparation for surgery. I generated blood clots traveling to my brain, causing my first stroke. I was 60 years of age, and though eligible to retire, I wasn't ready to retire, but I was facing this dilemma. I was hospitalized for days, and my left hand was affected by the stroke. I was hoping I could return to work, but the second stroke soon after affected me more severely. I was having trouble writing, talking, processing numbers, and I realized that I had more extensive rehabilitation and treatment needed, so I retired. I received pensions from Texas and Montana for my services there, but I hesitated to apply for veterans benefits. When we bought a house in Corpus Christi, the realtor, a veteran, encouraged me to apply for VA loan as well as disability because of my previous Army service and the nexus to my injury to the Army training. I am grateful for her advice. After 9 years of extensive physical, occupational, and speech therapy, I have made some recoveries, particularly my speech. However, I still have marked defects. I was now clear that those would be lifelong deficits. So I requested my records from the Veterans Administration. Unfortunately, they were lost. Luckily, I had retained the copies that I'd had from the prior hearings, and I used that to process my claim. I sent my records to the State Veteran Affairs caseworker. Once submitted, the journey of medical examinations to verify my claims of disability and service connection was a 2-year process. The last examinations and determinations led to a 100% permanent total rating in 2022. I do not walk well today. My left hand does not work well. I learned to write and to paint with my right hand, making the best of my present circumstances. I am thankful for all the compensation and benefits the VA provides for my disability and help from people who encourage me and support me. I have I we were tempted many times to give up because of this burdensome, lengthy process. Persistence is the most important force. Do not give up. We did not give up. We prevailed. The moral of the lesson is persistence. I spent my entire public career in law enforcement and as a prosecutor. I helped society by encouraging social responsibility, helping for victims of crimes for justice and restitution, as well as serving in the Army. Although I never deployed or served on active duty except in training, I am still proud of my 5 years of peacetime National Guard service and 42 years of public service. When my military service is acknowledged, I internally acknowledge it for my years of military and public service, which warms my heart and sustains me. It was my honor and privilege.